The 80-20 principle, what does it mean for lucid dreaming? Let's find out. Welcome back to Tipharot, it's me Matt here, and today I'm talking specifically about that, the 80-20 principle and what it means for lucid dreaming. In the background I've got a game going, and that game is once again old school RuneScape. I'm just doing some green dragon killing very slowly and inefficiently with a weird inventory setup and so on, because I haven't done it in forever, because I just basically started playing this game after a long break. I also discovered that it's not that good money anymore, so I might not do much of it anymore after this. But I just decided to do it for a little bit. It would make some easy footage to get in the background. Anyway, onto the subject. So the 80-20 principle is this idea that 20% of the things that you do produce 80% of the results. That means only a small number of the things that you do, the foundation for any given thing, are what are actually producing the results. Then on top of that, 80% of the other things that you do, all these little details that you worry about so much, only actually affect 20% of the results. They don't affect all that much. So you want to be focusing on that 20% that produces 80% of the results. So why do I bring this up with regards to lucid dreaming? Well, with lucid dreaming, this is also true. I get these questions all the time. Make a video about diet and lucid dreaming. Make a video about, supplement timing and lucid dreaming. Like, I'm not talking lucid dreaming supplements even. I mean like timing your vitamins, like timing like your B vitamins and stuff at certain times of the day so that you can get lucid. Timing your meals so that you can get lucid. Avoiding eating too much at certain hours, and eating foods high in tryptophan and all of that. And the thing about this is everything, every little detail can affect your ability to lucid dream. Absolutely true. That is the truth. These details can matter. But these are the 80%. These are the 80% that contribute to 20% of the results, or even less than that, more like 5% of the results, realistically. These are not the foundation. You should be focusing, if you want to lucid dream more, you want clearer lucid dreams, longer lucid dreams, you want better dream control and all of that, you should focus on the basics, the things that make the biggest difference. Because if you're spending so much time on all of these little things, like, tracking your exact meals and setting them up in a way to try and get you more dreams, more lucid dreams or whatever, but you're not focusing on the important things like getting the techniques right, getting enough sleep and stuff like that, and keeping a dream journal, for example, then you're going to have worse results than someone who just did a technique once a night and kept a dream journal. Even though you spent more time and energy doing all of this, because those little things don't really matter that much. They only contribute to a small percentage of the results. So, focus on the foundations. So what are the foundations? Well, of course, the ones I just mentioned. You want to actually learn the techniques and learn how to do them right. And what I suggest for this is don't try to do too many techniques at once. You want to learn a technique, and you can experiment and do different ones, but don't just try a technique once and then switch to a next one and so on, and then just forget about a technique after doing it a couple of times. You want to give it a chance. You want to actually do a technique for a few weeks before stopping doing that technique. You can potentially do a couple of techniques, or even 3 or 4, and try them all out together, but at least give each technique a couple of weeks. What you should also do, in addition to this, is take some time to research these techniques. Actually take some time to go, okay, I know how to do this, but I'm going to actually watch a video about how to do this again, just to refresh my knowledge. I'm going to read a guide from somewhere else as well, and look at multiple sources of information, because I found with lucid dreaming in particular, guides for the different techniques are written with the person who wrote the guide in mind. And I'm just as guilty of this as anyone else is. Basically, what I mean by this is you make a guide based on what works for you when performing that technique. So when I tell someone how to do wild, I explain it how it would work for me. I give an explanation that would allow me to perform wild if I didn't know how to do it. But for you, you might not get that explanation in the same way that I do, so you might not find my video for wild helpful, for example, and you might find someone else's better. And the same for any method and any person's guide of it. So I do suggest for any method that you learn, any technique that you learn even, I suggest actually looking to multiple sources and refreshing your knowledge and being certain that you actually do know what you're doing. When you do know what you're doing and you've been trying it for a few weeks and you start to get comfortable with the method, keep at it, stick with it, and don't be surprised if you don't get many results to begin with. Your results will improve as time goes on. Other fundamentals are sleep. You'll want to be getting enough sleep, because if you're tired all the time, you're not going to give your full effort to all of the methods. Now, one thing I will say is that sleep deprivation is actually a good time to lucid dream, when you're sleep deprived, I mean. It is a good time because you will actually have an easier time lucid dreaming, but that doesn't mean go out of your way to sleep deprive yourself. No, you should be getting a good amount of sleep every night, and that is going to help you overall in the long run. Even though something like sleep deprivation can help in the short run, what helps in the long run is having a consistent sleep schedule. Because then, for example, if you do want to, mess with your sleep schedule for the purpose of a particular technique, then you can do that and you can see that that is actually working because you've been consistent, and that's the one thing that you've changed. That's something that you'll have to learn with lucid dreaming, is if you change too many things at once, too many different variables, and you start getting more lucid dreams or you start getting less lucid dreams, you're not going to know what caused that. You're not going to know what was the actual cause of your improved success rate or your reduced success rate. If you change one variable, then you can know. You can say, oh, I've been doing this the same way for months and I changed this one thing and now I'm getting lucid twice as often. Well, obviously this thing is helping. So yeah, focus on getting the techniques right. The next thing that you want to focus on is, of course, your dream recall. If you actually don't have good dream recall, then you absolutely need to be dream journaling. And even if you do have good dream recall, you should keep a dream journal if you want the best results of lucid dreaming. Start a dream journal and at least write a brief description of each dream that you have inside it. It doesn't have to be anything long, anything particularly detailed, just something brief. We actually have quite a lot of dreams each night, say 5 or 6 each night, so if you're not remembering that many dreams, then your dream recall has room for improvement. Now, even with a dream journal, you might not remember that many dreams every night. You're going to have some periods where your dream recall just sucks, even though you're doing everything you can to make it good. But most of the time, you should be remembering a good number of dreams, and you can work to continually improve it. The more consistent you are with this, the better it will be, and you'll get to the stage where you are remembering several dreams every single night, except for the occasional night or the occasional week where your dream recall is just a bit off for whatever reason. So work on improving that, and that is going to help you. That is actually going to help you get lucid, because you're going to recognize the dream state more easily, and so you're going to be more likely to perform a reality check, more likely to simply spontaneously become lucid. It's going to help you find dream signs for performing reality checks, and you're just going to have a higher chance of getting lucid. The next thing is to choose the right techniques. Some techniques are going to work better for you than others, and some just produce better results than others. If you learn to do Wild, then Wild has an extremely high success rate. If you're actually in REM and you're relaxed and comfortable and you can stay through the process and perform Wild, then most of the time you will get lucid. There aren't many other methods that are that reliable. But Wild takes a bit longer to learn, it can be a bit more frustrating to learn at first, and sometimes you just won't feel like doing it. But there are other techniques where, for example, you can perform the technique every single day, you can do it right for weeks, and you might only get lucid once a week or even less. So, if you actually want the most results, focus on learning those techniques that are going to bring them. The next thing I want to talk about is the time that you actually put into lucid dreaming. That is one of the major factors that is going to result in the most results. If you only do a technique once a week because you don't want to, get up in the middle of the night on weekdays or whatever, and you don't want to bother with reality checks or meditation or a dream journal, you just want to put in a tiny bit of energy once a week, then you should expect to get, an amount of results consistent with the amount of effort that you've put in. So the amount of effort, the amount of time that you can put into lucid dreaming is going to result in better results. And related to time, once again, the other thing is actually timing. Timing of the techniques. Getting in REM for particular techniques is what's going to result in you actually having some success with them. Now, you don't necessarily have to be in REM when performing every technique, but for a lot of techniques, that is where you want to be. And learning your REM periods when they are for you, typically, and learning how to get in them, and learning also how to recognize when you're in them, is what is going to help you to actually get those results. I remember when I first started lucid dreaming, I didn't really understand the whole REM thing. In fact, I didn't really know about it at all. I just knew that these guides were saying, wake up after X amount of hours. And also, I believe that for a time, I actually read the number of hours wrong. Like, it was supposed to be 6 hours, and I read it as 5. And so I was just waking up after 5, and sometimes that would put me in an REM period, sometimes it wouldn't. And I just had really inconsistent results with some particular methods. And so sometimes I would get put in REM, and sometimes I wouldn't. And so I went from having a really good first month or two of lucid dreaming to starting to have some really inconsistent results, just because I didn't understand this, fundamental concept of getting into REM for lucid dreaming. And as I experimented over time, I found what times worked for me. I started to understand REM and how it worked, and that I could do it at earlier periods of the night and so on. I learned about things like chaining naps to get in REM and stuff like that. And by learning about that, I was able to basically get down one of the foundations of lucid dreaming, one of the fundamentals, and I was able to get more lucid dreams. So what about at the other end of things? What are some of the things that you don't really need to put so much energy and effort into? Well, diet, for example, you don't need to worry that much about diet and lucid dreaming. I've experimented with all sorts of diets and seen how it affects my lucid dreaming. I used to be vegetarian, and I saw that maybe that had some effect on my lucid dreaming, but the effects of different diets, I've had all sorts of different diets, and overall the difference was very, very minor between them. And I couldn't really say that it was related to the diets at all. So that's something that's pretty minor. Another big one is the mantra that you choose when you're doing mild. A lot of people have asked me what mantra they should use, and there's a lot of debate like, oh, should you word it like this? Maybe this is a bad way of wording it. Honestly, I've experimented with so many different mantras, and you can even use the most silly stuff that makes no sense why it would work, and it still works. I think really the purpose of the mantra is just to have the thought of lucid dreaming fresh in your mind as you're falling asleep, and repeating this phrase over and over and over is what gets it to stick and stay there. You could literally just repeat the words lucid dreaming, lucid dreaming, lucid dreaming over and over, and I think honestly it would provide pretty much the same results as saying something more advanced. So don't stress the mantra. As long as it's something that feels right for you, is related to lucid dreaming, and gets the idea that you're going to be in a dream right now, into your mind, then it's going to work. One thing that I should say, by the way, is while I'm saying not to focus on any of these things, that doesn't mean don't do them. Think of it like this. If you only do those little things like tweaking your diet, like, optimizing the mantra, but you don't get the fundamentals right, then it doesn't matter how much effort you put into those things, you're not really going to see much in the way of results or any results. On the other hand, if you do all of the fundamentals but you ignore everything else, you don't do any of the other stuff, and you don't worry about these extra details, then you're still going to get good results. So only worry about the minor details if you're already getting good results, you've already got the fundamentals down, and you just want to take it one step further and get even more results. Now, in the middle, you have other things like, say, lucid dreaming supplements. They're not one of the fundamentals of lucid dreaming. You don't need supplements to master lucid dreaming, to be good at it, and they're not going to improve your long-term results necessarily. It might help if you've not had a lucid dream before, because just having that first lucid dream can help, but it's not one of the fundamentals that will keep you being a long-term successful lucid dreamer. However, unlike the, 80% that produce 20% of the results or less than that, it does produce a significant, powerful result that could be compared to that of the fundamentals. Speaking of lucid dreaming supplements, I just want to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to the people over at Vividream, because they've just sent me a couple of bottles of Lucidesque. One to test out for myself of the new enhanced version that they've released, and one actually to give away to you guys, my viewers. Probably what I'll do is I'll test it out and I'll basically put out my review of it first, and then I'll do the giveaway for it. So that should be coming out sometime soon. Also, regarding Lucidesc specifically, I did have an interesting revelation recently, and that is that it actually works really well when taken during the day. Even though it technically works ever so slightly better if you take it, just before your REM period or in your REM period, and get up in the night and take it, or take it right before bed, it actually works still very effectively when taken in the middle of the day, and provides some cognitive benefits during the day as well, since huperzine A is actually a nootropic. And I did actually talk about this in another video, but this was one of the videos where I ended up talking more about the game than about lucid dreaming, and so I figured I would mention it in this video as well, just in case that video doesn't get uploaded, or just in case not many people watch it because of the amount I'm talking about the game, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that, because the reason I'm bringing it up is there are probably a lot of you guys who, you wanted to try, say, Lucidesc or another lucid dreaming supplement with huperzine A in it, and you were put off by the fact that you're told to get up in REM and take it for best results, or to take it right before bed. But guess what? You don't actually have to do that. You can, in fact, just take it in the middle of the day and get results. I actually had 7 lucid dreams recently after taking Lucidesc in the day. Before I go, I of course want to give my scheduled plug for my advanced lucidity course. It is a course to help you beginners who are struggling with lucid dreaming, who want to get better, who want to master lucid dreaming and become an advanced lucid dreamer. It is there to help you. It is there to take you, hold your hand, and take you step by step through the process of learning to master lucid dreaming. If you want to learn more about the course, there's a link in the description and a link in the top right hand corner right now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you found it helpful. If you did, be sure to subscribe for more lucid dreaming videos like this. If you want to support the channel and ensure I can keep making these videos, check out my Patreon page. And if you want to keep watching, pick one of the 2 videos you can see on screen, pick your favourite, go watch that, and I will see you soon. Take care.